you can call me hypocritical, whatever you want. I don't care because, you look at Alien Romulus and how I'm going to talk about this one, and I'm going to talk about it very differently. And it's for very different reasons. And we can go into those if you want to, but I enjoyed this movie. I had
Okay.
fun with this movie. My wife and I went to go see this, and we laughed. We enjoyed almost every aspect of it. I mean, if you okay, so I go back to someone left a cake out in the rain. Okay, I've heard this song a million times. I have never once listened to the lyrics of this song until this movie, and this movie personified the lyrics of this song in such
MacArthur
a
Park.
way that
MacArthur
I
Park.
enjoyed it very much.
Okay, you're talking about MacArthur Park. Is that the
Yes,
song you're talking about? Okay, yes, yes.
yes.
Not the Donna Summer version, by the
No,
way.
no, no. Yeah, the MacArthur
All
Park
right, go
version.
go ahead, go ahead.
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure I knew what song because if I missed something, but yeah, go ahead. My bad.
I enjoyed the performances of Willem Dafoe, of Michael Keaton, of Jenna Ortega, of Winona Ryder. I thought they were good performances, if not great performances. I mean, Michael Keaton was great. I loved Willem Dafoe's character, and some people say that there's too many plot points and there's too many things going on, and he's just kind of a distraction. He's kind of a throwaway character, whatever. I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the fact that he was consistent because the things that he did every single time were consistent with who he was, right? And I appreciate the fact that they wanted to do justice for the character that they wanted to say passed away and the actor who shall not be named, right? This person that cannot be in a movie, he's done. He's never going to act
Right.
again. You're never going to see him again. You're never going to hear from him again until he dies. Okay. And what they did and how they did it, I truly appreciated it. I thought there were some things that were like there's no point of view character, but there is a point of view character, and it's the daughter. It's Jenna
Mhm.
Ortega's character because she's
Right.
the non-believer. She doesn't believe any of this stuff is real. Her mother's full of shit. She's on drugs with an asshole fiance. This total scumbag, and her dad passed away, and she misses her dad, and this has caused a big rift. And so there's this whole thing that's going on here that I think is a great story about Jenna Ortega's character and how she grows and changes through the process of the experiences that she's having and how her mother changes. She's in her life. She's an adult. She wants to put all this crap behind her, but she can't. So she's making a profit off of it. But is it what she really wants to do? Is
Right.
that really who she is? And so her character changed from the first movie to this one. So everybody's different except for the stepmother, and
Delia.
Delia, and
Delia's
and
pretty much
and
the same.
people say that she's a useless character in the movie. I think she's
Mm,
very useful in
mm.
the fact that she was annoying as hell in the first movie, and she didn't really change. Some people say she's completely different. She hasn't changed at all. If you watch that movie and see what she did to that man in that house and what she was trying to do, it's the same thing that she was doing later on. She's trying to create something that she can profit off of. And so
Right.
she's always trying to look for that next buck and how she can manipulate the public, right? And so I I didn't like her character in the movie. I thought that she was extraneous to some point. But at the same time, she was kind of needed in that whole storyline. So to say all that, I enjoyed the movie. We had a good time with it. I think it's worth seeing. If you like the first one, it's worth going to check it out. Yes, it's a rehash. Yes, no, it's not as good as the first one. It doesn't have the same notes. It's different. It, it's the
It
next
is. I will.
generation.
I'll give you that. It is different.
It's the
Yeah.
next generation. So that's my take on it. What do you think, Pop?
Well, first, I guess let me ask you what rating out of a 10 scale would you say you're on that, or should I wait for my?
You know what? I go throw it at me. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10.
Okay. All right. So the first thing I'm going to say about this is that I'm going to forget this movie in about 2 weeks. Um. so I made several notes, and because I was the only person in the theater, I didn't have to worry about my phone being open. I even recorded the MacArthur Park entire section at the
Nice.
part of the movie it comes in.
Yeah.
Um, I will forget this movie in a couple weeks because I think it is kind of all over the place. Now, let me preface this by saying the original Beetlejuice movie I watched about 3 or 4 years ago with my son, and I was so excited to show him. I've mentioned this to you before. I was so excited to show him, and I thought, God, I remember as a kid, I thought it was so funny, and God, I've seen it God knows how many times over the years, right? You can move in TNT or USA or whatever it's on, right? Whatever channel, and you just leave it on or whatever. So I have fond memories of the movie. When I watched the first movie again, it did not hold up for me the way I thought it did as a kid. Were there good parts? Yes. But it did not, dialogue wise, not quite. Okay. That being said, the first movie is rather irreverent. It has a lot of one liners. It kind of, there's some things in it that just kind of come out of nowhere. Beetlejuice is only in the film for 15 minutes in the original movie. So this movie for me, while I did enjoy a couple of the characters, Delia being one of the main ones, I did enjoy her character because I thought she had some of the funniest lines.
She does have some good lines.
She does. She has some of the funniest lines in the movie, in my opinion. Um, I thought that they respected the character of Charles.
Yeah.
Charles Dietz. What I mentioned earlier about separating the football player from what's on the field, right? What they do off the field, on the field. Now, don't get me wrong. I detest what this man did back
Yeah.
in 2001 or 2002, whatever, when that happened.
Yeah.
However, as I go down my notes, I'm just going to mention a few things for you guys, and you tell me what you feel like my score may be when I get done with these. Thought the way they dealt with the death of Charles was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. The funeral scene was pretty funny to me. Not in the way you may expect it, but I thought it
Right.
was pretty funny.
Yep.
I thought that the Corpse Bride character was underbaked, not fully realized, very little backstory, and wrapped up very unsatisfyingly. I thought that Rory, the love interest of Lydia, is a character that could have taken a hike in the movie. Also a very unsatisfying plot line, in my opinion. Yeah. Someone you don't even know whether to root against or for, and I get that in a way, but in also in a way, I'm not so sure necessarily maybe ended up the way that I thought they should have or would have. As much as Jeffrey Jones isn't in this movie, he is in this movie.
Yeah, he is.
A lot.
Yeah.
Quite a bit more. His character,
Yep.
Charles Dietz, is in this movie quite a bit more than I even thought. So
Yeah.
in a clever way, very clever way.
Yep.
I will tell you that I do love the Soul Train. I love the Soul Train. I love the Soul Train so much I want to be on the Soul Train.
that was so awesome.
Let's see here. I thought that the husband was a weird plot line, kind of weak. That I say the husband, what I mean is also the Rory character. I just thought it just just really was kind of in there. I just thought it was odd. I think Justin Theroux is a good actor in a way. He's been acting for 30 years in Hollywood, it seems like at this point. But
So
I don't
you
I
know what's
thought
funny is on Friday I got I'm a part of a Warner Brothers A-list community survey type of thing.
okay.
And I went through the whole survey, and it was all about Beetlejuice. And it was asking me about all the actors from that movie. And I was going through them all, and I hadn't seen the movie yet. And I was going through all the actors, and I'm like, yeah, I like this one. I like this one. Okay, whatever, whatever. And it got to Roy's, whoever that actor is.
Yeah.
I have no idea who that guy is. And I'm like, I have no
I
connection with
believe
him
that.
whatsoever. And, and he may be acting a lot, but at the same time, I enjoyed his involvement in the story.
Okay.
And how he
fits into the movie, I guess.
Because he shaped Lydia into who she is and how she's dealing with things.
I think Lydia is the same person she always was.
I don't.
With or without him. I think she is exactly her voice, her tone, the way she talks is like the same Lydia that I saw in 1988. She sounds like she is the same age as she was in 1988, especially the first 30, 40 minutes of the movie, at least the first hour of the movie. Don't.
I think
that
she's
character
more Stranger
sounded.
Things.
Man,
she's more Stranger Things mom than she was Lydia.
Man. When you go back and rewatch this movie and you see her first probably 15 lines of the movie, she sounds exactly like she did in 1988.
Well,
exactly
maybe, but
and she's a grown ass woman now.
Her character choices are so different
than
what Lydia's would have been that it doesn't feel like Lydia as much, and you can see how this slime bag has manipulated her. Into doing that, and Mahler doesn't think that he thinks that he's a Stranger Things version.
I mean, I just, to me, I don't know. I liked what they set up with her and how her life has turned out in the movie, but ultimately, and I liked her as well in the movie, right? I like Delia the best, honestly. Beetlejuice, in a way, for me, is kind of, he's in there. But I'd had no feelings of like, wow, this is magical. I will tell you that my favorite things about the movie, well, no, not yet. Willem Dafoe, okay, it didn't really go anywhere. It was pointless. Very pointless. Like some of the characters, pointless. I love the set design. I love the lighting. I thought the classic Tim Burton with the sets and the stairs that are this way and that way in the background, and you kind of look and you see like the different characters and people are just kind of doing their own thing, or there's kind of a character doing a funny little thing here. The inventiveness of having characters who die in a certain way, especially when Charles Dietz sits down on the couch when he first walks in, and then you got the guy with the surfboard next to him. I thought that was really funny. Awesome. I thought that was great, right? So there's some good gags in there. There's some good funny moments. I thought it was great usage of low budget. I don't imagine this film has a very high budget, and I think that the practical effects were actually pretty good. I do find it hard, and I agree with a comment that I heard earlier about shooting on digital film. I think that shooting on digital, when you talk about practical effects, you talk about makeup, makes it harder and harder to feel to look at someone as if you can buy them in that character, or it just looks like they have makeup on. And I felt that in some of the scenes. Now, I will tell you the good points of the movie that I did like. I like the throwback scene with Beetlejuice, black and white. I like the telling of that scene in a foreign language. I thought that was funny. That was a nice nod. I did appreciate the claymation series, or stop motion, I guess you could say, whatever you want to call it. I thought that was pretty cool. Again, Delia steals the show. I thought she got the shaft, but at the end of the day, she got in a way what she wanted. Which, but I did love the fact that, she's built this empire, right? She's the same, right, person as she was in the first film. It did not have the charm of the first film. It
I agree.
I don't think anybody's going to remember a line out of this movie. There may be one or two at best, but there is no one-liners that anybody's going to talk about 25 years or 35 years from now like they did for the first film. Not a single one. There's not going to be one. I thought that
I can see
Jenna
that.
Ortega, who I think she's super cute, but her plot line as well, I thought the middle of the movie really dragged, and that's when we got into that. I thought it really dragged. And I think overall, I'm glad I saw the film. It is not as good as the first one, but many
No,
sequels are never that good, especially 35 years later.
right.
But I will say, like I said at the beginning of this review, um, I will not really remember this movie in 2 to 3 weeks. There are two fantastic jokes, one meta, and the other is
Oh,
actually pretty filthy. Yes. Look, Beetlejuice has his moments. I'm glad we have a movie like this in 2024. I'm glad there's a budget movie like this being made. I'm not saying it didn't have a good budget, but what my point is it's not a superhero film.
right.
It's not a 3 hour marathon. It's an hour and 44 minutes long. You know, and two of the worst things about the movie is the Jack Black and Cal Drogo Minecraft preview that came on before, which is one of the
Ah, that
gayest
was
things
so
I've seen
bad.
in forever. And then the
That movie
Santa
is gonna
Claus
tank
movie,
so
yeah.
bad.
And then the Santa Claus movie that's coming out with The Rock and whatever, and they got to
I don't
save
know. That one
Santa.
looked
That's
more fun
shitty.
to me.
Well, I mean, whatever. And bottom line is, I give this a 6 out of 10. I laughed a couple times. But in all honesty, I'm probably going to forget about this movie in 2 or 3 weeks, and I will probably never think of it again.
I love this whole discussion. I love the fact that I like something and that you didn't. I knew this was going to happen at some point, and not the other
Yeah.
way around.
Right.
And I don't want to say I loved it, but we enjoyed it so much that
And I'm glad.
this is a
I'm glad.
keeper. I laughed out loud at a couple things in this. I think it's worth going to see. I think it's worth going to
Okay.
see in the theater if you are so inclined. If you liked the first one, if you loved the first one, I think that you're going to find a lot to like about this. Now, Pop, on second viewing, doesn't appreciate the movie the same way that I do, because me and my wife and my daughter have enjoyed this movie for a long time. And my daughter likes this movie. She's 8 years old, and she likes the first movie. She hasn't seen the second one. And she doesn't get all the jokes, but she still
Yeah.
appreciates it. And
Right.
so there's a different aspect of it. And so I love the fact that we disagree on